Okay, so our second session is about to start. We will do an amazing exercise before that. It's an exercise in mindfulness. Take your phones out, wherever they are. Wave it at me, please. We have to do this now. It's very unfortunate. Okay. Turn the airplane mode on in your phones. Okay. Yeah. We should not have any more phone sounds in this room, in this app. It's very unfortunate. Okay. Okay, ma'am.
ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. That basically encapsulates all of Vedanta, going from the unreal to the real. And how do you do it? Through knowledge. So you go from darkness to light. And what's the result of all of this? You go from death to immortality. So what are we doing here? How do we do it? And what do we get out of it? We are moving from the unreal to the real. And how do we do it? By knowledge. From not knowing, not realizing, to knowing and realizing. And that also means something very interesting. If by knowledge we can go from the unreal to the real. See, knowledge does not do anything except reveal what exists. It does not change anything. In Hindi, I heard one sadhu say, "Gyan koi tod phod nahi karta hai, Mahatma ji." Gyan is knowledge, does not change anything, break anything, destroy anything. It just reveals the truth. Whatever is there is revealed. That's what any knowledge does. So if by knowledge we are going from the unreal to the real, that means the real is right here. It just has to be uncovered. Knowledge will not transform something in. So it just uncovers what already exists. And if just by knowledge we get the benefit of it, we're going from death to immortality, from suffering to beyond suffering, then how is it by knowledge of the real, by knowledge of Brahman or Atman, we become immortal? See, this is a mystery involved here. Brahman is immortal. I can quite accept, that there is some immortal spiritual reality. Well, good for it, good for Brahman. But what good does it do me? Unless I am Brahman. So when it says by knowledge you become immortal, it only means immortality is already there, knowledge just reveals it. That means I am immortal already. It's just that I don't know it, I don't see it. I am beyond suffering already, just that I don't know it and I don't see it. That knowing and seeing it, that is moving from darkness to light. And the result, from death to immortality. Not immortality in the body, though many people are seeking it, especially down south in the Silicon Valley. There are billionaires investing millions and millions of dollars in trying to freeze the body, cryogenics. Literally. I saw a very serious discussion among some top minds in the world recently about uploading yourself into the cloud. Before the body dies, can I upload? So the discussion was what constitutes a successful upload of a personality. And you will not believe the brain power involved in that exercise. It's some of the top thinkers in the world. Anyway, not physical immortality. Not immortality in that sense. Immortality is a kind of infinitude, limitlessness. Whatever is physical is limited. Whatever is mental is limited. But beyond the body-mind lies the true limitless, our real nature, which we already are, right here, right now. That is uncovered by this knowledge of Vedanta. And this shows us our spiritual heritage, that you are this infinite being. One sadhu said, so inspiring. In Hindi, I'll translate. In Hindi, kahin koi mrityu nahi Mahatma ji, there is no death anywhere. Kahin koi jadata nahi, there is no insentiency, no unconsciousness anywhere. It's all light, it's all awareness. Kahin koi dukh nahi Mahatma ji, there is no sorrow, no suffering anywhere. After this realization, you realize suddenly, what a grand vision. Three things you cannot say. Try saying it. I do not exist. You can't say it. Even saying it disproves it. Try it. Second, I do not know. Swami, I do not know lots of things. I didn't say that. I said, I just do not know. A blank statement. Just don't know anything at all. Basically saying that I am not aware. Try saying it, you can't. But Swami, sometimes I'm not aware. I'm in deep sleep, or even then you are aware. It's just that you can't say it at that point. Because the mind and the body are not available to you. You're aware of the absence of all objects. That is deep sleep or general anesthesia. That's one thing you cannot say, that I am not aware. And most intriguingly, Vedanta challenges you. Say that I am not happy. You will say, gotcha. I am mostly not happy, Swami. I can say that honestly. There is a very peculiar, very Vedantic logic. It's very contrary, counterintuitive. Vedanta says you yourself, your real nature, you are the source of your continuous and maximal happiness. Continuous and maximal happiness. How do you come to this strange conclusion that I am myself my own source of continuous happiness and maximal happiness? This is in the Panchadashi, in the, I think, 8th and 9th verses of the first chapter. A very interesting piece of very peculiar logic. I'll tell you what logic Vidyaranya Swami leads us into. To prove what? That you are yourself the source of continuous happiness and maximum happiness. Mana bhuvam hi bhuyasam iti prematmani ikshate. He says that whatever we like, whatever makes us happy, we like it. Whoever, whatever makes us happy, a person, an object, an activity, whatever makes us happy, we like it. If it gives you happiness, you like it. And whatever you like, you try to keep it. If you don't have it, you try to buy it or get it. If you have it, you try to keep it or you get more of it. Whatever it is. It could be a food, it could be entertainment, it could be relationships, it could be art, science, spirituality, whatever it is. Whatever gives you happiness, you like it, and you would like to keep it, and you'd like to get more of it. Now, reverse it. Whatever we keep, whatever we want to preserve, it means we like it. It is stuff which you want to keep. You want to hold on to it. That means you like it. And if you like it, it means it's giving you happiness. Look at the chain of logic. If it gives you happiness, you will like it. Yes or no? Yes. If you like it, you would like to keep it or get it. If you don't have it, you'll get it. If iPhone 17, long line. I saw, yes, in New York, Big Apple, there's the Apple Store. So Apple Store in Big Apple, long queues. What happened? Latest iPhone. So I want to keep it. I want to get it. So if it gives you happiness, you like it. If you like it, you want to keep it. Reverse it. If there is something that you want to keep, it means you like it. If there's something you like, it means it's giving you happiness. There's one person, Mary Kondo. How to simplify your life. I haven't read the book, but I've just heard the idea. So here, one of the big problems in the United States is stuff. Everywhere there's stuff. Your house, your garage, and then there is places for stuffing it with stuff, which are called storage. So, how do you get rid of stuff? How do you simplify your life? That's a big problem. Now, Mary Kondo has this beautiful advice. She says, walk around your house, touching different things which you own, which are your things, you touch them. And if touching them gives you a feeling of happiness, you keep it. If it does not give you any feeling of happiness, you get rid of it. That's how you will feel. And at the end of the day, after one round of your house, you will simplify your life. So this is the same logic. But Mary Kondo logic, Panchadashi logic, Vidyaranya logic, same logic. If it makes you happy, that means it is giving you happiness and you would like to keep it. Alright, so what does it have to do with the self? He says, now see, Vidyaranya Swami says, Mana bhuvam hi bhuyasam iti prematmani kshate. Nobody thinks that let me not be. Everybody thinks let me be. Nobody wants not to exist. Everybody wants to exist. And he says, so I know what's going on in your minds. Swami, suicide. What about suicide? They want to die. No. Even suicide, people want to die because there is some adventitious factor which is imposing suffering. Nothing really from their own nature. Somebody is saddled with debt. Somebody has an incurable disease. And I just want to die. I just want to make it stop. Okay, the government has forgiven your debt. So you are fine now. Oh, good. You wanted to die, what happened? No, it's all right. I don't want to die anymore. Your disease has been cured. You are healthy. You're free to go now. Okay, great. Thank you, doctor. But wait a minute. You wanted to die? No, it's all right. I don't want to die anymore. So clearly, my own nature, but as it is, I don't want to destroy it. I want to keep it. So what? Iti prematmani ikshate. That means you love your own existence. But if you love your own existence, what do you love? Things which give you happiness. So your own existence gives you happiness. Repeating. Something gives you happiness, you love it. If you love it, you want to keep it. Reverse. If there is something you want to keep, that means you love it. If you love it, that means it gives you happiness. Now there's one thing which you want to keep always, your own existence. Which means you love your own existence. Which means it gives you happiness. When? Continuously. We hear this, we say, yeah, interesting thought. I don't really feel it. But anyway, since you are saying it, I'm sure it gives me, in a general sense, yes, it's nice to exist. But it's a kind of very minimal happiness. It's not a lot. Vidyaranya Swami says, no, maximal happiness. Your own existence gives you the maximum happiness. How do you come to that conclusion? Another piece of interesting logic. The next verse, I think 9th verse. Whatever is loved for the sake of another thing is loved less than the other thing. So, that which you love, why do you love something? Because it gives you happiness. If you love something more, it means it gives you more happiness. If you love something the most, it gives you most happiness. Okay. Now, one thing is loved for the sake of another. So you love your children's toys. The toys which your children used to play with or they play with, you love them. Why? Not for the sake of the toys. You would be weird parents if you loved the toys more than the kids. You love the toys because your kids play with those toys. You love your kids more. So whom do you love more than the toys? The kids. The toys are loved for the sake of the kids. So who is loved more? The kids. So if X is loved for the sake of Y, then Y is loved more than X. And remember, at the background, this basic idea, whatever you love because it gives you happiness. If you love it more, it's because it gives you more happiness. Who gives you more happiness? Toys or your kid? You say, of course, kid. You might say, Swami, you don't have kids. That's why you're saying that. Kids are a misery. Better stick to your toys. Okay. So, things which are loved for the sake of another gives you more happiness. Everything now, Vedanta, our Panchadashi author, Vidyaranya, he lowers what is called, he comes to his conclusion, lowers the hammer. He says, everything is loved for the sake of the self, and the self is not loved for the sake of anything else. That sounds very selfish. What does it mean? So an example which I give is, there was this young man who had a nice job, and he said, it paid a lot. He said, I don't do it for the money, I love my job. Then somebody asked him, okay, you love your jobs, and then do the job, but you will not get paid. He said, no, I have to be paid. Then choose one. Either you don't have to do any job at all, and you get paid the whole pay package, you get it. You can imagine the grin on his face. Or you do the job but you will not get paid at all. Which one will he choose? He'll choose the money. Therefore, whatever he says, I'm sure he loves the job, but basically if it's a trade-off between the job and the remuneration he gets for the job, he will take the remuneration. So he's doing the job for the sake of the money. Which does he love more? X is loved for Y, then in that case Y is loved more than X. Job is loved for the sake of the money, then money is loved more than the job. And remember, what is loved more gives you more happiness. So more than the job satisfaction happiness, which I'm sure he has, the money gives him more happiness. Next he is told, all right, you can get the money, but you can't spend it. You can't do anything. You can't invest it, you can't spend it, you just get the money. He says, no, I have to spend it and invest it and so on and so forth. I have to buy stuff for my family. So that means the stuff which you are buying, you love that more than the money. Because if you love the money only, you have the money, that's it, don't buy anything with it. No, you want to use the money. The money stands for something. Maybe making more money, investment, or buying stuff. So, okay, you can have the stuff which you buy with your money. You can have the stuff, but it won't be for your family. It'll be for some random family. It won't be your family. So no, it has to be my family. It has to be my spouse, my children and grandchildren and so on. So see, finally it boils down to I, me, mine. Everything. The job is loved for the sake of the money is loved for the sake of the things it buys are loved for the sake of the people you buy the stuff for. The people you buy the stuff for, they are loved because they are your people. It comes back to the self. And so Vidyaranya Swami says, what is loved more? The job or the money? The money. The things you buy or the money itself? The things you buy. The people you buy them for or the things themselves? The people you buy them for. The people you buy them for, those people or the self who they are connected to. You have to admit it is the self ultimately. So all things are loved for the sake of the self. The self is not loved for the sake of something else. It is the source of all love. Therefore, the maximal love is for the self. But the things which we love more give us more happiness. So maximal love is for the self. That means the self is the source of maximum happiness. Put these two conclusions together. The self is the source of continuous and maximal happiness. You can say, Swami, how much you argue doesn't matter. I don't feel that happiness. Anyway, we will. It is there. The argument is that it's already there. It's just that we don't see it. But remember, it's not the self as we see it, because we don't see our real self. We don't understand that. We just see this, the apparent self, the body mind. So, why did I say this? The challenge was, there are 3 things you cannot say. Try to say it. I do not exist. You can't say it. I do not know, in a general sense. I do not know anything at all. You can't say. I am not happy. You cannot say. Because the source of your continuous and maximal happiness is always present with you. You are that. You are the self. You yourself. 3 things you cannot say. Anyway, so this is the goal of Vedanta, the ideal of Vedanta. The Kena Upanishad, summarizing, where are we now? The student had asked, Keneshitam patati preshitam manah kena prana pratama praiti yukta keneshitam vacham imam vadanti chakshu shrotram kaudeva yunakti. What inspires my mind to think? These thoughts are coming in my mind, thoughts, feelings, memories, desires. How? What inspires, what gives me the experience of seeing, of hearing, of talking, of speaking, of breathing in and out? So all my first person experiences of life, how is it happening? The answer is consciousness, of course, but the brilliance of the teacher lies in the way the teacher teaches it. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso mano yad vacho havacham sau pranasya prana chakshushas chakshur atimuchya dhira pretya asmad lokadamrita bhavanti. So it is the ear of the ear, eye of the eye, mind of the mind, speech of the speech, the breath of the breath. And realizing that one transcends this body-mind, even while living in this body-mind. The result is Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti, freedom while living, freedom after death. And then we go on, the teacher goes on to say how subtle it is. It's not something that can be seen, heard, smelt. It's not something that can be spoken about. It's not something, pure consciousness. It's not something that can be thought, conceived of. Therefore, we do not know it, and we do not know how it can be taught. However, there is one way. The ancients passed it down to us, the teacher says. What is that way? It is other than anything you know, and other than the unknown. Other than the known, other than the unknown. And the rest of the Upanishad develops this theme. Other than the known, other than the unknown. What is other than the known and other than the unknown? The knower. But what knower? Knower not in the sense of this body, mind, personality. Because even the body is known. Even the mind is a mixture of known and unknown. If you say there's a part of the mind which is unknown, your subconscious, Freud. Alright, that's unknown. Part of the mind is known. But both there are known and unknown. We are talking about other than the known and other than the unknown. So finally we reach at the real nature of the knower. If you just follow that formula, other than the known, other than the unknown, you will come to your nature as pure consciousness. Not that you will know it, because it cannot be known. You will realize, I am that. You will realize, I am that. That's a mantra for penetrating into our real nature. Other than the known, other than the unknown. If anything comes up which is known, that's not me. If anything comes up which is unknown, that's not me either. Don't waste time trying to know it. Our subconscious mind, Freud says, many of our impulses, our vasanas, they are all there. So you dig deep into it. Vedanta will say, leave it alone. Leave it alone. You're just asking for trouble. What will you find there? The ugliest mess in the universe. A tiny byproduct of which is our present life. Don't poke around there, because it's not you. It's not you. So, you have to realize what you are. And then the Upanishad goes on to say, that which the eyes cannot see, but because of which the eyes see, know that to be Brahman, not what you worship here as this, and so on, one after another. So this is the teaching so far. The teaching is over. And now the time for the test. Especially after a heavy meal. A non-duality test, oh my God. I can barely keep my eyes open. So the second chapter of the Upanishad begins. The teaching is over. Second chapter begins with a test. But remember, everything that the teacher does is to sharpen the student's comprehension. So even the test is a way of sharpening the student's comprehension. It's a really tough test. But we'll see that the student passes with flying colors. What you call summa cum laude. It will pass like that. Yadi manyase suvedeti nunam tvam vetha brahmano rup. Yadi manyase suvedeti davram evapi nunam tvam vetha brahmano rupam yadasya tvam yadasya deveshvatanu mimangsya mevate manye viditam. Do you know Brahman? Oh student, done. Teaching is over. Now test. Unit test. Do you know Brahman? Have you realized Brahman? Are you enlightened? Now, if it's a problem, if the student says, yes, I know, but I told you it cannot be known. The student says, okay, I'm sorry, I don't know. You're just dumb. You don't know. Then the whole teaching failed. The whole teaching has failed. You're supposed to be enlightened then, so the teaching has failed. I'm going to give you an F grade. Now, what is the student going to say? I know and I do not know. If he says, I know, you're trapped. If you say, I do not know, you're trapped.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Exactly. That was perfect. There was a phone here. Yes. So it's listening all the time. And it's listening probably with more attention than us. Nowadays, have you seen that AI which makes notes of meetings? It does it perfectly. I mean, and most of the time. More than if you ask the people who are attending the meeting to make a summary of what was said in the meeting, it will generally be imperfect because our attention wavers. But the AI does it more or less with high fidelity. So it's always listening. So that's one way out. I'm sorry, I don't understand. But you are not allowed to say that. You have to say, yes, I have realized Brahman, or I have not realized Brahman. So he asks the student, have you realized Brahman? And the student says, yes. I just told you, you can't know Brahman. Oh, no, okay, so I don't know Brahman. What? You don't know Brahman, but you're supposed to know Brahman. That's the whole point of coming here. I remember childhood memory. My grandpa used to teach mathematics to his grandchildren, cousins, brothers and sisters. I had a cousin, we were all little, but I still have this memory. And my grandpa was pretty strict, especially when it came to math. He was teaching us addition and subtraction. And so he gives us this problem. What do you do? And I remember my cousin, and she was really poor at maths. So she said tentatively, add? And my grandpa would glare at her, what? No, subtract. And my grandpa would say, what? And say, no, add. She would cycle back and forth between add and subtract. Her whole attention was on my grandfather's expression, trying to get a clue. So the student is in a fix like that. What do you say to this teacher? He says, do you know Brahman? And you do not know Brahman? What? Yadi manyase suvedyati. Do you think you have realized Brahman? He says, yes. Then in that case, O student, you have realized, but you have known but little of Brahman, which is in the gods and within you. So remember, Brahman is the reality of the universe and your own reality. And if you think you have known it, you have not known that reality of the universe, nor have you known your own reality. You don't know much about it. Then what do? Mimamsyam evate. The teacher says, do mimamsa. What is mimamsa? It's an ancient word. The meaning is pujita vichara, reverential inquiry. It's an ancient word. In fact, we say Vedanta Society of Portland, but the traditional word for Vedanta is mimamsa. If you ask a Pandit, they'll say Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa, the earlier Mimamsa, the later Mimamsa. So it should be Mimamsa Society of Portland. Luckily it isn't. Sounds rather funny. So Vedanta is better. But what does Mimamsa mean? It means reverential inquiry, Pujita Vichara. So the idea is, here are the Vedas. It's a mass of texts and quite arcane and ancient and incomprehensible. You have to make meaning of it. Usually the way would be just ask the author, but the authors are long gone. The rishis are not available to us. So how do you find out the meaning? So there's a whole science to it, to extract the meaning from a text. The philosophers who developed it, they were called the Mimamsakas. How to study a text and develop the modern name for this is hermeneutics. There's a word called hermeneutics, studying a text and generating or developing a meaning. Are there standards and principles by which you can derive some meanings from a text? Commonly agreed upon standards. So Mimamsa, they developed very sophisticated techniques. They were called the Purva Mimamsakas, the earlier Mimamsakas. Why? Because their area of study, their special area of interest was the ritualistic portion of the Vedas. Vedas, we know there are two parts, the Karma Kanda and the Jnana Kanda, the ritualistic portion and the knowledge portion, or the philosophical portion. The philosophical portion is known as Uttara Mimamsa, the later Mimamsa, which is us. So the technical name for Vedanta is Uttara Mimamsa, later Mimamsa, which deals with the Upanishads and how to extract meaning from the Upanishads. But the methods used for extracting meaning from the Upanishads, which we are all benefiting from, all the stuff I'm telling you is the result of that hermeneutic machine set in motion thousands of years ago to churn out, to feed the texts into this machine. It's not a literal machine, it's a procedure. Today you might call it an algorithm. And you generate the meanings from that. But this machine was devised not by us. It was devised by the other school of Mimamsa, the Purva Mimamsa, those who deal with the ritualistic portion of the Vedas. Anyway, that's the word used by the teacher to the student. Mimamsyam evate. reverential inquiry. Now, when you say reverential inquiry, do you see the tension between the two words? Inquiry should be free. I should be free to ask any question. My thinking is free. You can't constrain it. You can't say that you have to have reverence. And reverence does not really mean inquiry. Reverence means what you say, I'll believe you. But they put it together. Often when you put apparently opposite words together, the results are much better. So reverence and inquiry together. When I go for a walk in Central Park, I see this big thing at the beginning of the United States, when the Constitution was framed, Declaration of Independence, later Constitution of the United States, liberty and union forever. The slogan, liberty and union forever, the union of the first group of states which came together to form the United States. But do you see the tension between the two words, liberty and union? Union means you are giving up some freedom at least. Liberty means you are independent. That means I'm not with you, I'm by myself. And yet when you put them together, you see the result is the United States. So the result of sometimes apparently contradicting ideas, if you smash them together, you get some amazing results. In our order, look at what Swami Vivekananda did. Atmano mokshartham jagat hitaya cha. For the liberation of the self and the welfare of the world. And I can't tell you how much debate we have among the monks. Because there is a tension between the two. And you feel it when you are a member of the monastery. Do you run a school or do you meditate? Do you do scriptural study or do you go and serve food to the hungry? What do you do? It seems to be a tension. And there is a contradiction. And we complain and grumble as new monastics, which say, I'm not getting enough time for my spiritual practices and so on. It is a common complaint and grumbling. So, but see the amazing thing that's generated when you put these two contradictory ideas together. And they are apparently contradictory. They are not really contradictory. You put them together, you spiritually evolve to a higher plane. Okay. So, mimamsyam evate. Think about it again, O student. You say you have realized God, you have realized Brahman. Think about it again. I remember I read this story. It's quite instructive. Brahman and Maya. Non-dual Brahman, fine. Why bring in Maya into all of this? It seems to contradict the non-duality of Brahman. But it does not. It actually elucidates what Brahman is and it adds glory to Brahman. The story is this. Have you heard of the Chinmaya mission? Swami Chinmayanand? Yes. I met him when I was a kid. I used to attend some of his classes. Now this is a story about him. His guru was Tapovan Swami, who was a great Vedanta teacher in Gangotri and Uttarkashi and all. I went to his cottage and I met his personal attendant. We had long conversations about it. A very wonderful experience. This was more than 20 years ago. Now, at one time, the future Swami Chinmayanand, he was a brahmachari at that time, I think. So he was attending classes. He was taking classes from Tapovan Swami on the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita and so on. One day, he had I wouldn't say an argument, a discussion with the teacher. What's the use of all these names and forms? Maya. Why not just limitless existence consciousness, please? This is a question at some point you will think about it. So he asked this. Tapovan Swami did not reply. A couple of days later, during the class, he asked Chinmayanandaji, get me some water. I want to drink water. Get me some water, like this. And Chinmayanandaji, he writes that I was surprised because at this time generally he did not ask for water. Anyway, there he had to go down to the Ganga to get water. So he would take a brass vessel and he took it down, a glass made of brass. And he took it down, got a glass full of water from the Ganga, again walked up. It's quite a walk actually. Walked up to the cottage, and when he came, Tapovan Swami scolded him like anything. What did you do? I got you this glass of water. What did I ask you to get? Water? What did you get? A glass of water? Did I ask you to get a glass of water? And then Chinmayanji says, he was stunned. He stood stunned to the spot. This was the answer to his question. How will you appreciate limitless existence, consciousness, bliss, unless it is ensconced, enclosed in name and form? Name, form and activity. It just shows you Brahman. See, when I talk about electricity, how will you appreciate electricity unless the light is shining and the microphone is amplifying sound and the camera is recording? This shows you the glory of electricity. None of them are by themselves electricity. Exactly like that. Mimamsyam evate. You must inquire once again. And the student inquires and he comes back and he says, Manye viditam. I think I know Brahman. You can immediately see the teacher rolling his eyes and once again, how dumb can you be? I said it cannot be known. It's other than the known. Now you're saying I know Brahman. Then the student says, stop. Naham manye suvedeti no na vedeti vedacha yo nastad veda no na vedeti vedacha. The student says that I don't think that I know Brahman. But I know Brahman. It's not that I do not know, and yet I know. The teacher is delighted. Everybody else is confused. What's going on? And not that I know Brahman, but I do know. Not that I do know, I do not know also. What does it mean? Are you confused? And the teacher says, and the teacher looks delighted. Wonderful. This student has really understood what I taught. He has become enlightened. And you can imagine the other students looking confused. What's going on here? Scratching their heads. And the student explains to everybody else that among all of us, those who have understood my statement that I know it and I do not know it, they have understood. If that makes it clearer. So what it means is the student is literally telling the teacher exactly what he taught. This is the student's own way of saying it is other than the known and other than the unknown. Because it is other than the known, I do not claim that I know Brahman. In what sense? What was the original question of the student? How do I see, hear, smell, taste, touch, think, speak? So for none of them, Brahman is an object. It's not an object of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. It's not an object, something to be thought about or understood by thought. It's not something that can be expressed by speech. So I do not know Brahman. You're technically correct. And yet it is I. How can I say that I do not know myself? I am absolutely continuously clear to me. The bare I, which is what he has understood after inquiring, other than the known, other than the unknown. So it is not unknown. Therefore, I cannot say that Brahman is unknown to me. I cannot say that I know Brahman, and I do not say that Brahman is unknown to me. What did he say? He repeated back what the teacher had said to him, but in his own terms. If he had simply literally repeated back what the teacher had said, we could have done that. We do that in India all the time. Whatever the teacher says, we write it down carefully and regurgitate it, repeat it back, and then we get good marks in examinations. He could have done that. No. That does not show that he has understood it, that he has become enlightened. That literally the words. I like this example from the philosopher Wittgenstein. He was maybe the greatest philosopher of the 20th century. He was in Cambridge University. Cambridge, yes. At the time of Bertrand Russell and so on. He was an Austrian philosopher, but he came to England. Very interesting background. A brilliant man. He at first wanted to be an engineer. In those days, the most advanced technology was aeroplane. This was before First World War. So aeroplane had just been invented. Then he realized to be an engineer, you need to know mathematics. So he thought I should be first a mathematician. Then he thought mathematics before that is philosophy. Higher than mathematics, philosophy. So I should be a philosopher. Then he asked around, who does this kind of mathematical philosophy in today's world? So somebody told him there is a philosopher in Cambridge University, Bertrand Russell. So he is the world authority on this. He said, okay, I'll go to him. And the next story is from Bertrand Russell. He says, one day this young Austrian German man comes up to me, rather eccentric looking, wild looking chap, comes up to me and says, I can't make up my mind whether I'll be an aeronaut or a philosopher. So Bertrand Russell said to him, write something and show me, philosophical thing, write it and show me. So next day he was back with a written essay. And Bertrand Russell said, I read one sentence of that and told him, you must not be an aeronaut. First, just began reading it, he knew this is an exceptional mind. So later in life, this Wittgenstein, he became a professor at Cambridge University. That's also all his stories are interesting. Bertrand Russell and Professor Moore, giants of analytic philosophy in those days, G.E. Moore, they asked him, you should join the university as a professor. But you have to have a degree, and there must be a thesis examination. You have to have a PhD. And Wittgenstein said, I can't be bothered to write a PhD thesis. And they said, it doesn't matter. You have written one book, you submit it as the PhD thesis. The very famous Tractatus Logico Philosophicus. So he did that. PhD examination. Who is the student? Wittgenstein. Who are the examiners? Bertrand Russell and G.E. Moore. And the famous story, anecdote, examination. They started chatting. They're friends. They started chatting. At some point, G.E. Moore asked Bertrand Russell, Bertie, I think we should ask him some questions. So they opened the book and explained this. So whatever they started fighting with each other, as philosophers do. Philosophers will always disagree with each other. There's a saying, if two philosophers agree, one of them is not a philosopher. And if two saints disagree, one of them is not a saint. So they started debating and quarreling, and then suddenly Wittgenstein stood up and he patted both Russell and Moore on their backs. Give it up, boys, you'll never get it. And he walked out. And there and then they awarded him the degree. So very rare kind of PhD examination. Don't try it, huh? Young people. Don't do that to your guide. Give it up, boys, you'll never get it. Anyway, all this is background to show that. So once his classes were supposed to be amazing. It's not that he would teach from a textbook. What he would say would become philosophy. He would stand there in front of the class and do philosophy. He would think and he would do philosophy. And those were noted down, they became books afterwards. They defined philosophy afterwards. The problem was, whatever he said, if next day he said, if you ask the question, sir, you said this, he will say, no, I did not say it. Sir, you said this, no, I didn't say it. So one student and these students later became all big professors of philosophy. They became very exasperated. He wrote down exactly what Wittgenstein had said. Next class he said, sir, you said this, I didn't say it. No, sir, you said it exactly, I'm reading it out. These are exactly your words. And Wittgenstein said, but I don't mean by those words what you mean by them. You don't mean by the words what I meant by those words. Just the words itself is not enough. You have to understand what it means. You don't. So, if that student had said, it is other than the known and other than the unknown, I already said that. What new thing are you saying? So the student said, it's not that I know it, it's not that I do not know it. I know it and I do not know it also. Then the teacher is very happy. Now the teacher wants to explain it to everybody else who's sitting. What has been gained out of this test. By the way, Shankaracharya in his commentary here says, why did he put him to this tough test? Shishya buddhi vichalanartham, in order to shake the conviction or the understanding of the student. But why would you want to shake the understanding of the student? Don't you want the student to understand? Don't you want the student to have conviction and clarity? Yes, but when you shake the conviction, it becomes deeper. So there is an ancient Indian metaphor of driving in the post. So where you have a wooden post which you want to plant on the ground, what do? You slam it, you dig it into the ground, then you shake it, and raise it maybe a little bit and then drive it down even harder. It goes deeper. It's more firm that way. That's how you fix a post in the ground. Sthuna Nikandana Nyaya, it's called. So this is what the teacher was doing. Student has got it. Now let me challenge the student to the utmost. Let me see if he can defend his thesis. And that makes the student's understanding deeper. This was one of the reasons why they debated. In ancient India, you had different philosophical positions and they debated each other intensely. You would have to defend your position and you have to cut down the other person's position. There were different kinds of debates. Vada, Jalpa, Vitanda. So Vada is the Tattva Bhubhutsu Katha, the debate for realizing the truth. Example, between teacher and student. Exactly what we saw just now. Student and the teacher discussion, which I repeated now, that is called Vada, debate. What kind of debate? Between the teacher and the student. For what purpose? For ascertaining the truth. That's one kind of debate. Then they had Jalpa. What is Jalpa? That Parapaksha Dushanam Swapaksha Sthapanam. In order to defeat the opponent and prove your point. A bit like lawyers do. The truth is sometimes a casualty, sometimes you attain the truth, but that's not the goal. The goal is to defeat the opponent. So you have to cut down what the opponent is saying and you have to establish your point of view. That's the law. So similarly, the debate which is like that, and many debates were like that, in order to defeat the opponents. Then there's a third kind of, so you have to establish your position and cut down the position of the opponent. There's a third kind of debate, Vitanda, which means destructive. Cutting down the other person's position. What about your position? I have no position. It's just whatever you say is wrong. And I don't care what you think you're going to say. I'll just prove you wrong. You open your mouth, I'll prove you wrong. So that's one kind. But that can be very sophisticated. Advaita Vedanta, as its peak, was regarded as a kind of Vitanda. There's a great Advaitin, Sri Harsha, who wrote a book, Khandana Khanda Khadya, which means the cookies of refutation. The cookies of Khanda Khadya means cookies. What he does is, whatever philosophical positions were there, especially the Nyaya, he cuts them down. He never attempts to prove Advaita Vedanta. He says Advaita is self-proved. When your erroneous assumptions are removed, cleared, you will see Advaita is self-proved. You don't have to establish Advaita Vedanta. So that's a kind of Vitanda. The great Shunyavada philosopher, Nagarjuna, in the book Moola Madhyamaka Karika, the whole thing is a Vitanda. He says, Shunyata Sarva Drishtinam, the emptiness of all philosophies. But Mr. Nagarjuna, your philosophy, it's also philosophy, so your philosophy is also empty. And he says, but if I had a view, if I had a philosophy, it would be empty. Since I do not have any position of my own, you can't accuse me of that fault. So that's called Vitanda. The example we just saw now is between Guru and Shishya, teacher and student, in order to ascertain the truth. Who am I? What am I? Now the teacher is going to make it clear to everybody. He's going to tell everybody what was the conclusion of this debate. Yasya matam tasya matam matam yasya na vedasa avijñātam vijānatam vijñātam avijānatam. Those who say, I do not know it, for them it is known. Those who say, I know it, for them it is unknown. For it is known to those who do not know it and unknown to those who know it. I hope that's clear. The Upanishad is always like this. You see, they're very dramatic at every turn. What is he trying to prove here? He's trying to show that it is a reality. It's the greatest of realities, but it's not an object. It can never be known as it is this and not that. If you think, I know Brahman. And remember, this Upanishad is very tightly argued. What it started as a question from the student, the teacher has not deviated from that question. What was the question? How do we have these experiences? If you think that ultimate reality which gives you these experiences is an object of these experiences, it's something to be seen or heard or spoken about or thought of, then you are wrong. Those who think that it's an object, Brahman is something to be known, to be seen, to be understood, to be grasped, they do not know Brahman. Those who know that Brahman is not something to be seen or heard or smelt or tasted or touched or thought about or imagined or felt or grasped, they know Brahman. Because it is your own real nature. It is always shining forth. So, Swaprakasha, self-luminous, continuously revealed to you. It is known to those who do not know. It is unknown to those who claim to know it. Yeah. It is just clarifying exactly in terms of the question set by the student at the very beginning. This whole Upanishad, though it seems very dramatic, full of contradictory, of paradoxical language, of humor, of twists and turns, at no point it has a rare logical consistency, starting from the beginning till now, until the very end. So this is what we have so far. It's not that something that can be seen, heard, smelled, tasted, touched. It's not something that can be spoken about in language. It's not something that can be conceived of in thought. Not this, neti, neti, neti. Subtler and subtler. It's nothing physical. It's nothing subtle. It's not a conception, not an idea. None of that. It is pure consciousness to which everything is revealed. All these are revealed. Bare consciousness, the witness consciousness. Nishedavati. Nishedavati means when you deny, when you negate something, that which can no longer be negated, that itself. Sri Ramakrishna says, I said in the morning, quoting from the words of the Master, a compilation by Swami Brahmananda, if you know yourself, if a man knows himself, he knows God. Okay. Then what does he say? Next line. But how are you to know yourself? What am I? Am I bones and flesh and blood? And you extend that, am I the mind or thoughts? None of these. And then he goes on to say, a human being, a man inquiring thus, it's like peeling an onion. As you peel an onion, you don't come to the crust or the core of an onion. It's just skin. You keep removing, you find nothing. In the same way, when you keep on inquiring thus, you find nothing which corresponds to who am I. You find nothing. Sri Ramakrishna says that. If he had stopped here, he would be a Buddhist. But he doesn't stop there. He says one more sentence. Jache tai choitanno. That which is, remains. Pure consciousness. If you had stopped, you do not find anything corresponding to who am I. That is Buddhism. Technically, those who are into philosophy, prasangika madhyamaka Buddhism. The mainstream philosophical doctrine of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan Buddhists. The emptiness school. The emptiness of the self. You do not find anything corresponding to the self. Nagarjuna's commentator, Chandrakirti, has the sevenfold attack on the sense of the self. Chandrakirti's chariot. I wrote an article about it once. Chandrakirti's chariot. So, any conception of the self, Nyaya, Sankhya, or the other Buddhist schools, they all fall prey to this sevenfold attack. Advaita Vedanta doesn't. This pure consciousness is not grasped by this network, by Chandrakirti's net. Sri Ramakrishna goes further and says, what remains, that is Jachetai, pure consciousness, and that you are. This is where we are. It sounds very abstract. I am not the body, not the mind. I am pure consciousness. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. It cannot be known by eyes, ears. It cannot be known by the senses. It cannot be known by language. It cannot be known by mind. This is where we are. But we are pure consciousness, the witness of the mind and the senses and language and all of that. Now next. Extremely dramatic switch by the Upanishad. Now the Upanishad will say, in everything you know. John asked this question. Now that is his question and it's going to be answered. We had just said we are not the body, not the mind. But if Brahman is everything, how can you say ultimately how can you say you are not the body, not the mind? Now you will find the answer. The teacher will say, in every experience Brahman is known. When you are seeing Brahman. You're hearing Brahman. Smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, speaking. Whatever you speak about, you're speaking about Brahman. Whatever you think about, you're thinking about Brahman. In all experience and in the absence of all these experiences, only Brahman is being revealed. So the next line is very dramatic. It seems to be the reversal of everything that we have done so far. It's like the rug being pulled out from underneath our feet. So what does he say next? The teacher goes on. Pratibodha veditam amritatvam hi vindate atmana vindate viryam vidyaya vindate amritam Iha cheda vedit atha satyamasti na chediha vedit mahati vinashti bhuteshu bhuteshu vichitya dhira pretya asmad lokad amrita bhavanti. A grand closing, an unexpected closing to the second chapter. The first line itself is one of the most dramatic lines of the entire Upanishad. It's the most dramatic line of the Kena Upanishad, which is full of drama. And it's the most dramatic line, it's one of the most dramatic lines in the entire Upanishadic literature. Pratibodha viditam matam. What is full enlightenment then? Till now we had got a very subtle idea of enlightenment, very abstract idea of enlightenment, a very neti idea of enlightenment. It's not this, it's not that, other than the known, other than the unknown. Now the Upanishad reverses, the teacher reverses and says, Pratibodha viditam matam. When in every experience, spiritual experience, worldly experience, in every experience, Brahman is revealed, then you are fully enlightened. Instantaneously revealed, effortlessly revealed, choicelessly revealed. You cannot but see God. You don't have to try. Even if you try, you cannot stop seeing God. Choicelessly, effortlessly. You don't even have to try anything. No sadhana required. If you do sadhana, you will see God. If you don't do sadhana, you will see God. If you want to stop it, it will not stop. It's done. There are no backseas. You have walked through the door, it's done. And when? Instantaneously, right now. Where? Everywhere. Here and everywhere. When? Now and all the time. Pratibodha viditam matam. When that comes, amritatvam vindati, you will attain immortality. It's done. What you had set out to do, it's done. What you had set out to get, you have gotten it. What you had set out to know, you have known it. Because you have known what has to be known in human life. You have gotten what has to be gotten in human life. You have done what has to be done in human life. You are fulfilled, Jivan Mukta, free. Panchadashi asks, why is the enlightened one so happy? Why are the saints so full of happiness? What cause is there? They say, because kritakrityataya, praptavya praptataya, gyatavya gyatataya. Because they know they have done what has to be done in human life. The goal of human life has been achieved. They know they have gotten what has to be gotten in human life. Krishna says, having gotten which, nothing higher remains to be gotten in life. They know they have to that which has to be known in human life. What Shaunaka asked, the rishi, in the morning I started with that, tell me that one thing by knowing which I can know everything. This one has known it now. Known, quote unquote known. This is pratibodha veditam matam. I'll translate the rest of that passage, but I'll come back to this climax again. The rest of the passage is pratibodha veditam matam amritatvam hi vindate. You will attain immortality when your enlightenment is like this. Effortlessly, instantaneously, choicelessly, in every experience, you realize Brahman, you see Brahman, see or experience Brahman. Again, see, experience, know, all within quotes. Atmana vindate viryam. By the mind trained and purified, the power for enlightenment necessary for the breakthrough is generated. Viryam, the power, the strength. Where will it be generated? In the mind. So in the mind, by the practice of the fourfold qualification, viveka, the discernment between the real and the unreal, vairagya, an utter dispassion for the worldliness, the disciplines of control of mind and senses, shamadamadi shat sampatti, the so-called sixfold treasure, and then mumukshutvam, cultivation of intense desire for freedom. When those four are there, then the mind becomes fit for enlightenment. Atmana vindate viryam, vidyaya vindate amritam. Then by the knowledge, this knowledge, which knowledge was given by the Upanishad, you attain immortality. And then it goes on to say, Yache davedit atha satyamasti. If you attain this in this life, you have attained the goal of life. There is truth, there is reality, there is stability, there is a ground, there is existence for the first time. Atha satyamasti, then you are living in truth. Nachediha vedit. If we do not become enlightened in this life, mahati vinashti, great is the loss. Mighty is your loss if we do not attain enlightenment in this life. And then sums up the whole teaching. Bhuteshu bhuteshu vichitya dhira. The qualified one, inquiring into all beings, all situations, every experience, and separating carefully Brahman from the appearance. Bhuteshu bhuteshu vichitya dhira. Pretyasmat lokad amrita bhavanti. Transiting from this world when upon the death of the body attains to immortality. Or, in the converse case, while in the body, attains to liberty while living in this body, freedom while living. That's the conclusion of the second chapter. But let me come back to that line. Pratibodha viditam matam. In every experience, freedom. We'll quickly touch upon that line and stop for Q&A. This is the climax of the Upanishad. Pratibodha viditam matam. Enlightenment is when you experience Brahman in every experience. With eyes open, with eyes closed. Sri Ramakrishna says, with eyes closed, God is there. With eyes open, God is not there. What kind of God is that? With eyes closed, with eyes open, you see God. Enlightenment is there. In every experience you find God. You find the divinity. Unstoppably so. There's a very touching story about Vaikuntanath Sanyal, I think. Yes. So Sri Ramakrishna on 1st January 1886, the last year of his mortal life in his physical body. He was already sick with cancer in Kashipur Garden House, under treatment. That day he felt a little better. So around afternoon, the devotees, they took him out for a walk in that garden house, in the garden. And as he went past, there's a particular tree, you can see it there now. Girish Ghosh and others, the well-known devotees, seniors, they had come. They are big figures in Calcutta society. And some of them had been, sort of proselytizing that Sri Ramakrishna is an avatar, an incarnation of God. So Sri Ramakrishna asked them, what did you see in me that you are going around saying this stuff? And Girish Ghosh, he kneels down in front of Sri Ramakrishna and he says, whom Vyasa and Valmiki could not describe, what will I say about him? That means the writers of the Ramayana and Mahabharata, they could not comprehend you. The Bhagavatam, they could not, what will I say? Sri Ramakrishna goes into an ecstasy and he blesses him and others all around. Whomever he touches, they go into ecstasy. They literally had the God experience. In whichever way they had worshipped God or they had not. They have various, but later on they were interviewed. What did you see? What happened to you at that time? They gave various accounts. Some went into samadhi, just like statues there, like Sri Ramakrishna used to go into samadhi. Some began to weep. Some began to dance and sing. Some began to shower flowers on Sri Ramakrishna and chant hymns. This went on, like a madness spreading around. And people were calling, come quickly. One of them was this Vaikuntanath Sanyal. He was interviewed later on. What happened to you when Sri Ramakrishna touched you? He said, I saw Sri Ramakrishna everywhere. I saw Sri Ram, looked up in the sky, and there's a vast Sri Ramakrishna there, stretching from the sky to the earth and beyond. I closed my eyes, the luminous form of Sri Ramakrishna. Everywhere. And my heart overflowed with joy. So, thrill after thrill, and unstopping. And after some time, he said, I went home. As I walked through the streets, it's all filled with divinity. The same vision of Sri Ramakrishna, unstopping. He goes home. He says, whatever I do, I'm sitting down to eat. I can't feel anything except that one divinity. I'm sleeping with eyes closed. I can't sleep. Then one day goes, and thrill. Like hairs on his body are standing on end in that extraordinary bliss. He said 3 days went on like that. Then I became scared. He felt, am I going mad? Am I going to die? And then he began to pray intensely. That thou who has given me this, please take it back. And so the moment he prayed, it went away. And he says, this is 30 years ago, and I've lived my life since then with the regret. Why did I say that? At most, what would have happened? He thought that what will happen to my business, my family, I can't live like this. I can't do anything. And then, of course, he got back his old life, and he says, why did I do that? At most, I would have gone mad. At most, I would have died. But nothing compares to that ecstasy which I experienced at that time. I couldn't hold it, he says. But he says at least over the last 30 years, the memory of those days has sustained me. This is one kind of ecstasy I'm talking about. Here the realization that I am Brahman is being mentioned here, and it's unstoppably there. So, pratibodha viditam matam. What an amazing statement. In every experience when you realize Brahman, without any effort, but unstoppably so, and instantly so, continuously so. What does that mean? So the commentators here are very helpful. I'll just give you 3 apparent meanings, then the real meaning, and then the deeper real meaning, and leave it there. Okay. What are the 3 apparent meanings or 3 preliminary meanings? They are just teasers. They're not real, not the real stuff, but just to whet our appetite. So all 3 turn on the word pratibodha. This is a Sanskrit word pratibodha. 3 meanings. One meaning of pratibodha is to wake up. So what is enlightenment? Pratibodha viditam matam. When you wake up from this dream of samsara and realize I am Brahman. That is enlightenment. So that's one meaning. And it's a correct meaning, it's a beautiful meaning. But the real meaning is even deeper than this. So the breakthrough which happens after long spiritual practice, whether Vedantic or any other practice, that awakening into the spiritual. For the first time, it's no longer theory. It's no longer words. It's no longer faith. It's no longer intellectual reaching, conceiving. No, it's a fact. So that is pratibodha, awakening. The second meaning of pratibodha is to awaken somebody. So what is enlightenment? When the Guru awakens you. Transfers that knowledge how? Like this? Anyway, I'm just saying this one way, but shows you your real nature. That is also called pratibodha. Pratibodha, one meaning in Sanskrit, is to awaken somebody who's sleeping. So when we are awakened by the grace of the Guru, that is pratibodha viditam matam. The third meaning, apparent meaning, teaser. Pratibodha is reversed bodha. Bodha means exactly what the student had asked. How do I see? How do I hear? How do I think? How do I speak? The reverse of that, when my attention is turned inwards, who am I? Am I the body? Am I the prana? Am I the mind? Am I the intellect? This inward enquiry is pratibodha. The background to this is a mantra in the Kathopanishad. The Paranchikhani vyatrinat swayambhu tasmat param pashyati nantaratman kaschid dhira pratyagatmanam avritta chakshur amritatvam. Why do we not see the Atman? Why do we not realize our real nature? One reason is the main reason is our attention is continuously flowing outwards. And the way the Upanishad says this, our senses are designed to experience the world. Paranchikhani vyatrinat swayambhu. The Lord has put in a manufacturing defect in our senses and mind. That's a way of grumbling. There's not manufacturing defect. That's what the senses and mind are supposed to do. They're supposed to grasp the world. But from a spiritual perspective, it's not helpful. So eyes will see objects, not God. Ears will hear speech and songs and all, not God. Smell, taste, touch, mind, speech, all of it is meant to deal with the world. It's all meant to deal with duality, not with non-duality. It does not see antaratman, the inner pratyagatman, the innermost self is not realized. Then what do you do? The serious seeker, kaschid dhira, the serious seeker, the qualified seeker, avritta chakshu, covers literally, so not literally, turns inwards. For the time being, let the world pass into shadow. Look inwards, into thought, into our own minds, into our own hearts, and discovers the inner self. So this is another meaning of pratibodha, reversed attention. Let the attention flow inwards for a time being. That is also a good meaning. But all 3 meanings are preliminary teasers. Now we come to the real meaning. The first real meaning and then the deeper real meaning. The first real meaning is this. In every experience of the world, Atman, Brahman, pure consciousness is available. Right there. You don't have to look for a separate pure consciousness event. I saw a publication on consciousness studies, a collection of papers. The volume is called The Irreducible Mind. Very nice collection of articles. But you see the misunderstanding of pure consciousness. One whole article, seriously written by some professor. Pure consciousness events. That means these are all mixed consciousness, and sometimes you can have pure consciousness. No, this is all pure consciousness. It's like they are thinking a golden bracelet or a golden necklace. It's impure gold. If you melt down all that stuff and you have a mass of gold, that's pure gold. No, if you have a necklace, if you have a bracelet, whatever it is, if you give a name and a form to it, it's not that the gold suddenly becomes impure. It's the same gold. So in every experience, pure consciousness is available. And the best example is the eyes and seeing. The example. So when I see, no matter what I see, the eyes are seeing. This knowledge that my eyes are seeing, therefore every experience of seeing is also an experience of the eyes. Similarly, every conscious experience, no matter what you are experiencing, is an experience of consciousness. It's just that attention should not be on the object. Attention should be on the experiencing subject. Drigdrishya Viveka, there's a meditation technique based on this. Kamadhyaschittaga drishya tatsakshittvena chetanam. Whatever thought comes to your mind, you are experiencing it because you are consciousness. That's all you need. Kamadhya, lust, anger, greed, even the evil propensities of the mind, the vrittis of the mind, even when they are coming up, they are being lit up by consciousness. Just instead of focusing on this thought itself, turn inwards and focus on. Turn inwards means notice it's being lit up by the same consciousness. Consciousness is not greedy or having lust or anger. Consciousness is light. And you are that. That's it. Every thought will point you back towards your real nature. That is the meaning of pratibodha viditam matam. In every bodha, in every act, every experience, whether it is sensory, whether it is mental, linguistic, intellectual, artistic, secular, spiritual, every experience is an experience of consciousness. Because consciousness is illumining all of that. It's like, I am seeing all of this. If I tell you, what are you seeing? You say duster. What are you seeing? You say cloth. What are you seeing? You say paper. But if I say, you're seeing the light reflected from the duster. You're seeing the light reflected from the cloth. You're seeing the light reflected from the paper. Everything that you see is an experience of light. Would it be wrong? No, it's quite correct. Here, of course, the light is an objective light. But what I mean there is, you are the light of lights. So everything that you experience is being experienced in you. It should point back to you. In every experience, you are available. Which you? The real you. I am the awareness, the attributeless, the pure awareness, always there, never affected by my experiences, but always illumining my experiences. I am that. How do you know? Everything tells me I am that. So that is the deep meaning of pratibodha viditam matam. Deepest meaning, or deeper meaning, or deepest meaning you can say. Notice what I did here. Every object that is being experienced by consciousness. So in every experience, disregard the object, turn the attention to you, the experiencing consciousness. And you cannot turn the attention to you, the experiencing consciousness. You can only be that. You can never objectify that experiencing consciousness. I am that. That will become clear. Every experience points you to I am that. Now there you see I am disregarding the object of experience, these things. Going back to the experiencing consciousness. But now let us ask the deeper question, what is the object of experience? What is the relationship between consciousness and the object it experiences? What is the relationship between me and this? What is the relationship between me and the body? Me and a thought? I, the consciousness. In me a thought arises. What is the relation? I can go back from the thought to me, the consciousness. That's all right. But I am now asking, what is this thought? What is this object? What is this world? What is the relationship between consciousness and object? Are they separate? Are they related? Which is primary? Which is fundamental? If you say the object is primary and consciousness is born of the object, this is materialism, physicalism. The material world is real. And then you will have a question, like John asked, a typical question, that out of millions of years of evolution in the material world, at one point consciousness emerged. What is the assumption behind that? The assumption is the material world is primary. Consciousness comes much later. Johnny come lately. It evolved later. This is physicalism. Isn't it true? It's very dominant in our way of thinking. That's how we have been taught. And it is the first way of thinking because our primary philosophical position is materialism. Even before we go to school or learn philosophy, we are by instinct materialist. Because we turn outwards and grasp a world of objects. And that seems to be real. Is that the only position possible? Is object real and consciousness a byproduct of the object? Matter is real, then matter becomes living matter in the body, and the body has nervous system and brain, and from the brain consciousness is produced. Consciousness is secondary, brain, body. No matter how much you talk about consciousness, the materialist will tell you that once the body dies, the brain and the nervous system are destroyed, lights out. There goes your fancy consciousness. What is the assumption there? Consciousness is being produced by the brain. So if the brain is not there, no more consciousness. Let me give you a counter argument. See how it works with you. This I'm borrowing from a noted new thinker who I think is really brilliant and is very friendly to Advaita Vedanta. His position is not Advaitic, but it's friendly to Advaita Vedanta. Bernardo Kastrup. I met him a couple of times last year and this year recently also. I told him about my encounters with AI experts and all that and what they said to me. And he was utterly dismissive of that. He said, don't listen to them. He said that it's astonishing the degree of stupidity about consciousness when you get a PhD. And what he says carries weight because he is himself a double PhD, one in philosophy and one in computer science. And he used to work for CERN. So he straddles all these worlds of philosophy and science and spirituality, all of them. And he has developed a philosophy called analytic idealism, which is close in many ways to Advaita Vedanta. All right. So what did he say? Why should we not accept the materialist hypothesis? He says the atrocity of the materialist argument. It's an atrocious argument according to him. Why? He says, take it in 4 steps. We are all conscious. Or let's start this way. I am conscious, step 1. None of us can deny it. We just said that's one thing you cannot deny, that I am conscious. I know. You cannot deny that. I am conscious. Step 1. Nobody denies it. Materialist, idealist, Advaitin, Buddhist, anyway. Their explanations of it are different, but the experience of being conscious, nobody can deny. It's a fact. So step 1. Step 2. Others are also conscious. Now notice a little relaxation in the rigor is there. Because I experience my own consciousness directly. I don't experience your consciousness. I can see your body. I can see your behavior. I can hear your language. I can see your expressions. But I don't have that first person experience which you are having. I have my first person experiences. But this you can allow. Because what is possible once can be replicated. That's the idea of science. So it is possible once. Where? In my own case, I have no doubt. So you look like similar cases. I guess you guys are conscious also. Step 2. So far, so good. Although we have already relaxed a little bit, the rigor. Step 3. Apart from this consciousness which I have and you all have, there is an independent, separate material world. Yes, the world appears to us in consciousness, but that world, the materialist claims, exists independently of consciousness. Although it appears to you only in consciousness and can never appear to you anywhere else. By definition, where will it appear? Only in consciousness. But materialists will say, no, it exists independently. 3rd step. Already we have made a huge concession. And the 4th step is completely atrocious. It says That so-called speculated, independent, material world produces you, the absolutely certain consciousness. 4 steps. I am conscious, certain. Others are conscious. Okay. Beyond consciousness exists a material world. Not at all dependent on consciousness, entirely independent. And this material world is producing you, the consciousness which is utterly certain. That uncertain material world, that speculated material world, existing, so-called material world existing independent of consciousness, is producing you, the absolutely certain consciousness. This is what he calls the atrocious arguments of materialism. So, consciousness and object. Object is producing consciousness. You will run into the problem called the hard problem of consciousness. David Chalmers. Brain, how can brain produce consciousness? There's the hard problem of consciousness. Now, there's plenty of material on it. There are books and books written on it, so you can look it up. The opposite position. Consciousness produces the object. Who says this? Every theist in the world. Those who believe in God, what do they say? God produced the universe. What's the one definition of God agreed upon by all religions? God is the creator. Hinduism, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, Christianity, Islam, God is the creator. In our terms, consciousness produces, after all, your God is a conscious God or unconscious God? You'll say, no, conscious God. So, conscious God has produced the universe. Consciousness produces object. What could be the problem with this? The problem with this is, if you're going to do philosophy, this is an entirely faith-based position. How will you demonstrate such a God? Such a God can be disbelieved in. From the beginning of religion till today, there have been agnostics and atheists. Now, never more than now. It will run into the problem of skepticism because it's entirely faith-based. Third position. Consciousness did not produce the object. Object did not produce consciousness. They are parallel realities. They coexist and they interact with each other. This is the oldest position. Sankhya, Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha did not produce Prakriti. Prakriti did not produce Purusha. They are, consciousness and matter are parallel realities. In modern version of that is something that David Chalmers is propounding to some extent. It's called panpsychism. It's a group of theories. Panpsychism, multiple theories are there. And then it's not, now there's a modern version of it. It's also an old idea in the West and in the East. So that's the third one. What could be the problem with it? Interaction. How will Purusha and Prakriti interact? How will consciousness and matter interact? Clearly, consciousness and matter are interacting. We are consciousness and matter right now. But how? To interact, they'll have to touch. Where do they touch? If they're utterly different from each other. Light example will not help. Light is a material light and this is a material object. It can interact. But consciousness and matter, how will they interact? It's called interaction problem. Any dualism has to answer this problem and they cannot. They stumble on this. Then there is another way of talking about it. I mentioned Nagarjuna. Neither consciousness is an ultimate reality nor matter is an ultimate reality. They are interdependent, they are empty. They arise together, they fall together. And leave that aside for the time being. Now you come to the Advaitic view. The Advaitic view is matter is an appearance in consciousness. The technical term, superimposition, adhyasa. It is consciousness alone which is appearing as its own object. And therefore, when you look at the object, you will find nothing other than consciousness. There's a whole theory behind this. Beautiful arguments are there to demonstrate it. And it matches with our experience. After all, the world appears to you. Step 1. The world appears in you, consciousness. If you think of yourself as consciousness, clearly the world is appearing in you. You might say, wait a minute, what does that mean? If I say the world appears to you, it means there's a point at which you stop and the world begins. But is that how we experience the world? Or do we experience the world in our conscious experience? Do we ever experience, my consciousness has stopped here, outside my consciousness is the world? Or do we experience, I am conscious and I'm conscious of the world? We never experience, this is my consciousness, now stop. This is the world starting from here. No. My body, it stops here and not my body starts from here. But this part and this part both are in my consciousness. I'm aware of both. If you look at the dream example, this will become clear. Whatever is you in the dream and whatever is another in the dream, both are appearing in the dreaming mind. And what is appearing in consciousness, is it other than consciousness? Is it not consciousness itself with names and forms and activities appearing to itself like a dreaming mind? There's a lot of argumentation behind this. So, what I'm driving at is the object experienced in consciousness is nothing but consciousness. It wears a vesture, a costume of names and forms, and it plays out its part, but it is consciousness itself. And consciousness is you. You appear as your own universe, and therefore non-duality is possible. It's not an countable other than you. Why am I saying all this? Back to Pratibodha Viditam Matam. Now we see whatever we are seeing is consciousness itself, is Bodha itself, is awareness itself. You don't have to say, I am experiencing you, so I am consciousness, and then turn my attention back to myself. I am the awareness in which you are being experienced. No. You are that awareness. Literally, Pratibodha Viditam Matam. Whatever is experienced in the world, that itself is consciousness. This is the final position. There is no distinction between subject and object. Swami Brahmananda says, when you talk about self and not self, consciousness and object, Swami Brahmananda says, can you show me the distinction between Chaitanya or Jado, consciousness and object? Where is the line of demarcation? You'll never be able to find it. The only place, where do you find objects? In consciousness. You don't find objects and consciousness separately. So, non-duality, it shows you that in every experience, you, the experiencer, are experiencing yourself. Therefore, mind, body, world, everything is Brahman. Everything is pure consciousness, but appearing with the vesture of names and forms. And those names and forms are also nothing other than that pure consciousness. This is the magic, the glory of pure consciousness. It can appear to itself as the universe. And thus, non-duality. Pure consciousness plus what? Plus nothing else. In reality, it is all pure consciousness. In appearance, this tremendously diverse universe. This is the deeper meaning of Pratibodha Viditam Matam. I've given you 5 meanings of Pratibodha Viditam Matam. First meaning of Pratibodha Viditam Matam is to awaken into our real nature. Pratibodha literally in Sanskrit means to awaken, wake up. Wake up from the dream of samsara and realize I am Brahman. Second meaning is the grace of Guru and Vedanta. It awakens us to who we are. That's the meaning of Pratibodha. And that's enlightenment. Third meaning, to turn the attention away from the world into the subject, into our real nature. The who am I inquiry. That's Pratibodha. Even meditation is Pratibodha, when you turn it away and attend to yourself. Fourth meaning, the deeper meaning, the real genuine stuff, is in every experience, consciousness alone is the experiencer. So it's available in every experience, in every thought, in every feeling, in every sensory experience. That is the meaning, real meaning of Pratibodha Viditam Matam. And the last one, even the objects themselves which are being experienced, what are they? They are pure consciousness. I think, were you there when I talked about my interaction with the quantum theorist Carlo Rovelli? He said, why do you non-dualists keep on, say, yes, Krishna is saying light, but it means consciousness. No, it means light. The whole world, universe is light shining. Consciousness itself is light shining. Or light shining itself is consciousness. It's the same thing. So literally Pratibodha Viditam Matam. In every experience of the universe, you're directly experiencing Brahman. Every word. So earlier, no language can objectify Brahman. You cannot speak about Brahman. Now, everything that you speak about is Brahman. No thought can capture Brahman. Now, every thought captures Brahman. There's a Kali Kirtan, a song of the Divine Mother Kali. It says, all the letters of the Varnamala, oh Mother, they are your names. Whatever you speak about, whatever you sing about, you're singing about God. For the enlightened one. They see. But what a grand, grand vision. Then the most ordinary of lives. I'm reminded of the Zen saying, when you start your spiritual life, before you start your spiritual life, mountains are mountains, rivers are rivers. When you start your spiritual life, mountains are no longer mountains and rivers are no longer rivers, because you are inquiring deep into them. So much philosophy and thinking. And after you're enlightened, mountains are mountains and rivers are rivers. But oh, what a difference. What a tremendous difference. When you live in this limitless light shining. I pray to Sri Ramakrishna, Ma Sharada, Swami Vivekananda, may they bless us that in this very life itself, we will attain to that glorious vision and we will be free. We will attain to our destiny, what we are here for. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Little bit of Q&A, we have time now. Yes. Please stand up and ask the question. Yes, and we'll give him the chance first and then we'll come back to you.
Yeah, Swami, thank you so much.
Tell us your name and ask the question.
I'm Jake. I wanted to hear just a little bit more about your conversation that you talked about with the AI scientist you mentioned last night, and who's arguing that that AI can produce consciousness. And I just want to hear more about his arguments, because it seems like that would be a really big problem for Vedanta philosophy.
Yes. So I'll give you the bare bones outline, but it's published now. He has published the arguments now. It's a paper. You can look it up. So the arguments goes like this. Just the outline of the arguments I'm telling you. So he asks me, let's forget pure consciousness, Atman, Brahman for the time being. Let's concentrate on consciousness which is everybody's discussing. You as Vedantists are interested in it, and we as consciousness studies experts or scientists and AI people, we are interested in just this empirical consciousness which we are having right now. We are seeing, hearing. See how it tallies with the question of the Kena Upanishad student. He says, you're seeing, hearing, thinking, speaking. So this consciousness, let's just talk about that. Okay? I said, yep, sure. So according to if and he got it. What I had said about it, he repeated it back to me. According to you, if I'm not getting you wrong, this is what you call reflected consciousness. Pure consciousness in and through the mind. I said, sure. Now, when would you have this reflected consciousness? I said, you need a mind. You need a mind. He said, when would you have a mind? What are the occasions for having a mind? I said, you need a living body. That's the traditional understanding. And it's not just Advaita Vedanta, just about every Indian philosophical system, indeed every religion will say that mind would exist in a living body. So it would require prana. Technically in Vedanta, subtle body, sukshma sharira, of which mind is a part, but prana is also a part. So the pranamaya, manomaya, vijnanamaya together constitute the sukshma sharira. So put it simply, living body. And then we went on from there. So what's life? All the big questions on the bank of the Mediterranean. What's life? So then we went back and forth a little bit. Let me tell you a little incident. I'll suppress one of the names and other name I'll tell you. So this person told me, he went and asked the Pope, the last Pope, Pope Francis, would AI be conscious? And the Pope answered immediately, sure, if it gets a soul. Now this is very interesting from a Vedantic perspective. The English word soul is ambiguous. It can mean two things. It can mean the subtle body, it can mean the spiritual soul, that is the Atman. If you say he's a good soul, what do you mean? You mean he's a good person, he has good traits, a good character. That's the subtle body, that's the mind. But if you say my immortal soul, you're talking about the Atman there. Anyway, what he meant there, if it gets a subtle body, then it can become conscious. Which is more or less what I am saying. That you have a living being, in that it can host a mind, and the mind can reflect consciousness, it can be conscious. Yeah. Wait, let me first finish. Let me just run through the argument. And then he says, so what is a living being? When we got into what I later realized was already a well-known theory, I didn't know about it. It's a computational view of life. So he introduced me to Conway's Game of Life. If you Google it, you'll find it. Again, something I didn't know. So it's a very simple algorithm which shows you replication, fighting with other creatures, eating. All of those things can be replicated in a very simple algorithm will display many of the features of life. I'll give you the steps of the argument. Conway's Game of Life. Then he went into von Neumann's universal constructor. So what we call, of which our DNA would be a specific example. Then he says, from there to the rest of life, reproduction, assimilation, what you call all physiological functions, is a very simple step. Just more sophisticated machines, the question of building more sophisticated machines to host these replicators. A bit like the selfish gene of Richard Dawkins. I said, no, it has to be in a living body. He said, does you insist that it has to be a carbon-based thing? I said, yes. And he said, that's your dogma. Why does it have to be carbon-based? Why can't it be silicon-based? Why can't it be an algorithm in a computer? As long as it fulfills, it's an universal replicator, universal constructor, and it replicates, it follows all the algorithms of life. So anyway, later I realized what he was selling me was the computational view of life, and many dispute that. I mean, just jumping ahead, after this I put these arguments to a leading neuroscientist. He was a doctor. He says, don't buy all that stuff, Swami. I am a doctor, I've dealt with living beings, human beings, patients all my life. That's not what life is, no matter how much they push you. But the problem is this. I pushed back, but then here is an answer to what he gave. He says, Swami, you quote Descartes often, cogito ergo sum. But do you know what he said after that? Descartes said, if you poke a squirrel with a sharp stick, it squeals. And obviously, he's quoting Descartes, obviously it is not feeling pain because it has no consciousness, because we know animal beings have no consciousness, only human beings have souls. This is the Christian doctrine at that time. Not now. It's changing now. But animals do not feel pain. Now, he said, today we know different. We know that animals feel pain. It was Descartes' dogma. Even after understanding cogito ergo sum, even when seeing clearly an animal is feeling pain, Descartes says it's obviously a clever toy. It's not a clever toy, it's actually feeling pain. And then, so I knew he was trying to checkmate me. So he says, I told him, so that's what you are saying. I am saying that AI is a clever toy. He said, precisely. You are saying AI is a clever toy. It cannot feel. It cannot manifest consciousness. Why? Because you're just dogma. You don't have do you have a principle? Do you have an argument against it? So that was the basic idea. And then he put it in a nice form, which has later been published. At least 2-3 people I put this to. One neuroscientist, one, I will not say who it is one of the leading hackers in the world, computer hackers. So, not a lead, I don't know if one of the leading hackers, definitely a guy not to be toyed with. That guy, and another guy is Bernardo Kastrup. All three rejected these arguments sharply. So that's where it stands. And this and then Carlo Rovelli came in and he connected it with his interpretation of quantum mechanics, the relational interpretation, to show that everything is light shining. On one side, light shining, on the other, that is information, quantum exchange of information, and on the other side, that is the basis of life, which can reflect your pure consciousness, and so that becomes practically for all purposes conscious, just like we are conscious. So why not? Yeah. What's your name?
My name is Gopal Sharma.
Yes.
Today is my first day coming back into the for a long time, but one of my questions is, I think this is still kind of in the AI realm, but it has more to do with human consciousness now, which is if we're all one with the universe, does that mean that every person's consciousness is then interconnected with one another? Or
Yes, Advaita Vedanta is not interconnected. It is actually one, not even interconnected. It's one shining through many bodies and minds.
Could you make the argument that maybe not life as we would think of it in the traditional sense, but AI could be...
That's what he's arguing. And I have no clear logical move against it. Yeah. Yeah. I have met people, biologists, who insist consciousness is a phenomenon found only in the living brain. In the wet, hot, moist interiors of our body, something happens and that can lead to life and consciousness, not in a computer. And that seems intuitive to us, but this will not cut it when you are arguing. You must have a chess move to make. That you have to supply. That will, otherwise you'll just say it's your dogma. One of the leading scientists there, a quantum theorist, told me, if a system behaves in a way which looks conscious and tells you that it is conscious, I would tend to believe it. Nowadays, these machines, they tell us we are not conscious. If you ask AI, they'll tell you we are not conscious, but they are programmed to tell you that. Yes. Exactly. Now we know almost everybody accepts that animal beings, down to some of the lowest animals, also feel pain and pleasure. So they have conscious experiences. And that's his argument. Just as Descartes dismissed the squirrel in pain as a clever toy, imitating pain, but does not feel pain. Why? He was being ruled by the old Christian dogma at that time. Because animals apparently don't have souls, human beings have souls, and hence we have consciousness, animals don't have consciousness. But that's just dogma. So now we know, it's everybody accepts, and the church also accepts, that living beings are conscious and they feel pain and pleasure. So why are you, on what grounds are you saying a silicon being cannot feel pain? So now there is an effort to fight for the rights of AI. And an effort against it. There are moral philosophers saying that this is foolishness. This will take away your time and resources which should be devoted to actual living beings, not your toys. You'll ignore people starving, you'll ignore people who need medicines to keep electricity flowing to your computer because you are concerned about its feelings. I'll come to you, the gentleman here, and then I'll come to you and come back to you. Yes.
Swamiji, my name is Anand. Namaskar. So the neti logic for the existence of consciousness and Brahman, what is the affirmative case? The apophatic case is very clear, but what is the affirmative case for the existence of Brahman? And second is, in terms of going from being a cerebral exercise to becoming a lived experience, right? What is that transition and how does one know that it's not a game of the mind?
Yes.
And what's the role of the guru?
So many questions. Wait.
I'm trying to pack it in so you can answer it as you can.
I'll just give you bare bones reply. What is the affirmative way of knowing Brahman? The affirmative way is all around us. The universe exists. We are in an ocean of existence. You exist, he exists, she exists, the chair you're sitting on exists, this building exists, the sky exists, numbers exist, Harry Potter in some fictional universe exists. You say, yeah, so what? What is existence? Why does anything exist at all? That question. Here. This is the big question. I recommend that book. Why does the world exist? Jim Holt. He's a science writer in New York. And this book, what he does is, he asks this question, the big question. Why does anything exist at all? And he asks cosmologists, he took it to Roger Penrose, he took it to quantum theorists, he takes it to philosophers, he takes the same question to theologians, he takes it to AI experts, all sorts of... So that's a wonderful tour of human thought, the cutting edge of human thought in various fields, with experts in various fields and very lucid conversations, and with one focus, existence. That is the positive case for the existence of Brahman. Existence itself. After all, what is Brahman identified as? Sat, being, existence. In fact, I was looking through the book to see if Vedanta comes up at all. an American philosopher, Robert Nozick. Later I heard, he has passed away, but later I heard that he was actually very fascinated by Advaita Vedanta. So he says, towards the end of that book, he says, maybe the ancient Hindus were right after all. Atman is Brahman. That's his answer to why anything exists at all. That's also the answer of Sam Altman. It's ChatGPT guy. Somebody asked him, apparently somebody told me that on his feed, social media, X feed, somebody asked him, tell us one thing that you believe in which we don't know. And he said, Atman is Brahman. Using these words, Atman is Brahman. So that's the positive case. The very existence of the universe, our own existence. And that calls us to question. How is it that things exist? The world exists. How is it that I can have conscious experience? What is existence? What is consciousness? What is the point of it all? What is value? So these are all positive things we see in our experience of life. And when you investigate that, you'll be led back to Brahman. Brahman is ultimately a positive entity. The denial of appearances points to the reality underlying it. That's the apophatic way. So and then how do we move from a mental exercise to the lived experience? Okay. There are different answers to this. One is the devotional answer. Believe in God, pray to God, surrender to God. God will take care of it. It's a whole package. That's the dualistic approach. And it's perfectly all right to do that. And the lives of saints like Sri Ramakrishna himself is a clear demonstration that it works. Then there is the yogic approach. I'm answering your question. How will it move from a mental exercise to a lived experience? The yogic approach, still the mind. Still all mental experiences. And there are methods and methods for this. How you sit, how you breathe, how you withdraw your senses, how you center and still the mind. You are to attain extraordinary states of absorption called samadhi, where the truth of this will be revealed to you. That I am not the body-mind, I am pure consciousness. Samadhi is another way. Second answer. Third answer, however, is what we are doing here. The royal answer, the direct path. It is not a mental exercise. Why? If it was something else, then it would be a mental exercise, then you would have to experience it. But it is you yourself. You are resolving a mental obstruction, like Bhima with his, which prevents you from realizing that you are that already. Once that confusion is eliminated, the confusion is at the level of the mind. Therefore, the medicine also must be at the level of the mind. Then you will see, it is obvious, I am that. In fact, Advaita Vedanta alone of all these paths I was telling you, would say it is already a lived experience. You don't have to get another lived experience, but you have to see it for yourself. You have to remove the ignorance, the error which tells you that you are not Brahman. That you are just this body. We are born and it ages and it dies. That's what we are. No, it's not. It's utterly, clearly you're not. It's something that you are experiencing. You are the experiencer, not the experienced body. Does that make sense? 3 paths. One is the path of faith. Leave it to God. Will it work? Yes. Long path, and it requires faith and application. Then the second one, stilling the mind. Yogic meditation, absorption, samadhi. Will it work? Yes. But it requires that stilling the mind, the yogic practice over a long period of time. The third one is a philosophical inquiry. Because you're inquiring by yourself, into yourself, what you're inquiring into is not a distant, a remote object. It is you, it's always present. You will only change your paradigm about it. You will come to the realization, oh my God, I never saw this. As in Odyssey, it's, I think, who says this? So my friends, once more we set sail. Not to see new sights, but to see old things with new eyes. Who?
I thought it was Marcel Proust.
Yes, Proust definitely, but before that, I think it comes from one of the Greek epics. No, he's setting sail with his friends. Who? It goes back to the Trojan War and everything. So anyway, whatever it is. But it's to see the same things with new eyes. It's not to see new things. Notice even the great saints, after they had extraordinary mystical experiences, finally they would end up seeing God in everything. That means here. Advaita Vedanta skips over those paths and it goes straight to this point. These are the ways. Yes, yes, you, yes.
Hello, Swamiji. My name is Paul. Let me go to the Tabata. At some point, recently, there was a point where that was not clear. And then after that point, it was.
Yes.
And has remained so.
That's wonderful.
And my life is forever changed. I would ask a question, but in that space, my questions are just being answered.
Yes. What I would say is, stay in that space and keep manifesting it.
Yes.
It will keep manifesting as the world and as Paul's life. You are not Paul, nor are you this body, nor are you this particular life. But this is not apart from you. This does not exist apart from the real you. So let it manifest in this way as long as it will. Let it play out. You are fine. One danger at this point is walking past the absolute, like the Pandava Bhima with his mace looking for obstruction to squash. When we look for, okay, I got this, what next? No, stop. You've got something precious. Stay with it. Stay with it. Manifest it. The danger is now walking past it. To our detriment, we'll have to circle back to it eventually, maybe years or decades later. You have it, stay with it. What it will have to show you, it will show you by itself. It is showing you the glory of this universe, and in Paul's life also it will show you further glories. Very good.
I just wanted to stand up and say thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I hear you. Yeah. How are we doing for time? 3:45, 3:46 already. One more question?
Any other questions?
The one at the back, straight at the back. Yes, the gentleman there, and then the lady there. Yeah.
So my name is Kevin. Just two things could you clarify? One is you talk about the subconscious and Advaita Vedanta saying not to necessarily poke into the subconscious. Could you clarify that that's not a suggestion that one doesn't do shadow work or work with repressed emotions?
No, I just said it just like that, but don't take that too seriously. If it helps you, there are people who struggle with emotional issues, which are born of complexes deep in our subconscious, which we are not aware of. And they come out and manifest in various struggles in life. And those emotional issues will prevent them from being spiritual. So they need to be loosened and resolved as far as possible until spiritual life becomes a possibility. If there can be any number of issues, physical, mental, social, which tie us down and not allow us to walk down this path. They will not allow you to be devoted to God. They will not allow you to meditate. They will not allow you to inquire. They will not give you the time or the space or the peace required for it. Then we must work to resolve those things. If we are too tied up in that, and many people are, it's good to work. So what you're talking about, I'm reminded of the grand old man, Freud himself. So he says that humanity, famously said, humanity was humiliated thrice. First, it was Copernicus who showed you that you are not the center of the universe. Earlier people used to think we are the center, the suns and moons and planets revolve around us. No, the earth is not the center. It's going around the earth. The Copernican revolution. It flipped. Then the next humiliation came from Darwin. We at least thought, all right, we are not the center of the universe, but we are made in the image of God. God created us, we are made in the image of God. So Darwin comes and shows you, oh human beings, you're not made in the image of God, you're made in the image of chimpanzees. There's a book, The Naked Ape. So, in animals. We still had, please sit, we still had the ego that we are rational animals. That's, in logic, they give the definition of human beings, the rational animal. And Freud says, I come to show you that that is also not true. Your so-called rationality is just a thin veneer, a thin layer on the surface, under which just there is a whole depth of irrationality, animal urges, savagery, ugliness beneath it. And there's just the poor ego trying to balance the superego and the id. It is navigating a dangerous waters beneath which lies the seething subconscious. Irrational, not rational animal. So we have to we take help wherever it comes from. If it comes from psychoanalysis nowadays, if it comes from cognitive behavior therapy, or like you said, shadow work, if it is helping people, making their lives more peaceful, easier, reducing suffering. The Buddha's dictum, look into it for yourself. If you find it is true and it is beneficial, then you can take it up as the truth. Two things. You find it true, that it works, it's real. Second, it does good, then take it up. Does that answer your question? Yeah. So my answer would be, we used to discuss this with monks. So if you have a mental illness, is it bad to take medicine for it? It is bad to go to a counselor for it? No. If you are sick, you go to a doctor and he gives you medicine for your tummy or for your headache. Why will you not go to... After all, you are Vedantists, we are Vedantists. We are saying the body is a physical body. The subtle mind is also another body. If this body can get sick, the mind can also get sick. Don't be worried about it. You are neither the physical body nor the mind. If the body needs treatment, get it. If the mind needs treatment, get it. And then move on with your life. Yes.
One more. You talked about peeling away the layers of the onion, you come to nothingness. At that point, if you stop there, Buddhism.
Yes.
Ramakrishna says...
Pure consciousness. What remains, remains. Pure consciousness.
Okay. Can you clarify the wording you're using for nothingness or emptiness? Because nothingness,
Yes.
there be something that remains.
Yes. What remains over? Is it nothingness? So here you enter into vast ancient debates on the nature of emptiness, shunyata. So shunyata got a bad rep as nothingness. Really, shunyata does not mean nothingness. Nagarjuna himself and Chandrakirti, he says, you do us an injustice when you say shunyata means asat, non-existence. What we are saying is, does it exist? Suppose you take up something like the Atman, the Hindu Atman, the idea of the Atman. So what does Nagarjuna say? Does it exist? He says, not that it exists. So it doesn't exist, not that it doesn't exist. So it both exists and doesn't exist. No, that's a flat contradiction. That's impossible. It can't both exist. So not that it exists and not that it does not exist. No, neither that. This is called Chatushkoti Vinirmukta Tattvam, the negation of 4 logical alternatives. It's called the Tetralemma. And Gaudapada, amazingly, Shankaracharya's guru's guru, uses almost the same 4 alternatives to describe the Atman. Not that it is something, not that it is nothing, not that it is something and nothing, not that it is not something and not nothing. So, nothingness in the sense of shunyata is not absolute nothingness. Never. Now, if you try to put it in language, and if you are strictly logical, like the Madhyamaka school is, they are hyper-logical, they will say it will always be a fault. You will always open yourself to asserting something which is called reification, a concept which you are forcing into existence. So that they say we can easily demonstrate that's an absurdity. We'll demonstrate the emptiness of all concepts. Shunyata sarvadrishtinam. So first of all, the Tibetan Buddhists, or the emptiness school, Madhyamaka school, is not a propounder of nihilism. It's not saying that just nothing. No. But it will not allow you to say that there is something also. Professor Garfield, with whom I studied Madhyamaka, he says, if you feel that you are falling into a bottomless well, then you have understood Madhyamaka. But remember, there's something subtle there. The bottomless well is a bottomless well of, if you keep on doing conceptualization, they will throw you into that well. But if you stop conceptualizing, there is something beyond that which they will not allow you to conceptualize. That is the realm of, remember, this is the philosophical side of Buddhism, of the Mahayana path. There is the practical side of it, which is they call bodhicitta. There is compassion, emptiness, and a whole range of sophisticated meditation techniques which shows you what lies beyond that well. If you have philosophical views, into the well you go. And this method is also supposed to take you to that realization. Not to end up saying that, oh, I realize what they're saying, it's all nothing. No, not at all. That's puerile. There is another alternate school which I believe is much closer to Advaita Vedanta than the Madhyamaka. The technical term for this Prasangika Madhyamaka, of which the Tibetan Buddhists follow. The Dalai Lama school, the Gelugpa. But there is another one school, which is called the Jonang school or the Shentong school. I met recently in New York the lineage holder of that, Khentrul Rinpoche. He had come to visit USA. And he said it's the school of other emptiness. So whatever, in Vedantic terms, the entire objective universe, Vedanta says it is known or unknown. And you, the reality, are other than the known and other than the unknown. They will say the entire objective universe is to be deconstructed and shown to be empty. But that to which this emptiness is demonstrated, don't use the dialectic of emptiness on that. Because that, he says, if you want to, he says, is careful there. If you want to describe it as pure, limitless consciousness, you are welcome to do so. But just don't tell the Madhyamaka, the Prasangika. He will even take out his logical knives again. He will not deny it. He will say, shh, don't say it. If you say it, it's wrong. Does that make sense?
Yep.
No. By the way, what I'm saying is a little controversial. Neither the traditional Tibetan Buddhists nor the traditional Advaitins will accept this. I remember a senior Advaita teacher from Benares. He called me on the phone when I gave a talk on Purnam and Shunyam. He said, and I'll tell you in Bengali and then translate, Apni ki Purno ke Shunne miliye deven? Are you going to plunge the Purna, the complete, the whole, the infinite into the empty? Are you going to make them one? Shunna or Purno ke ek kore deven apni? There are strong arguments from the traditional Advaitins who resist this kind of analysis. The lady there, last question. Yes.
Hi. My name is Shobha. I have a very practical question. So how do we continue and apply our spiritual practices like Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and others at times when we are sick and potentially bedridden and we are unable to really do these practices?
Yes. Intention. Remember, God realization, enlightenment is not the result of our actions. It's not that I have done so much, I've repeated so many mantras, so many times I've repeated the mantra and therefore God has to come and show himself to me. One monk from Rishikesh wrote a letter to the Holy Mother, Ma Sharada, complaining that I have been here in the Himalayas repeating the mantra of the Lord. When will the Lord be gracious and show himself to me? And the mother was slightly annoyed. She used to dictate her reply. She said, write back to him. Two things she said. Do you think the Lord is a sack of flour you purchase in the market, that you pay so much and you get it, that you have repeated the mantra so many times, the Lord has to appear before you? The Lord will show himself to him at the right time. That's one thing she said. Second thing she said, সাধু হয়েছে সাধনা করবে না তার কি তপস্যা করবে না তো কি করবে? He's a monk. He's supposed to meditate and repeat the mantras. What else? So, it is not by our efforts. We have to keep our efforts on as long as, if I cannot do it, if I'm bedridden, if I'm helpless, my mind does not listen to me, my body doesn't respond to me. But if my intention is right, that's enough. The Lord is always watching, always listening. It is not by our intense practices that the Lord will reveal Himself or herself to us. It's by His or her grace. It is not even by meditation that we realize the Lord. Meditation is only to quieten the mind. The final appearance of the Lord in the heart of the devotee, of the meditator, is by the grace of the Lord, not by the power of one's meditation. And even by inquiry, Vedantic inquiry. Upanishad says, Yamevesha vinute tasyesha atma tanum swam. Tasyesha atma vivrunute tanum swam. Whoever the Atman chooses to itself, to that one, the Atman reveals itself. Now for the dualistic commentators, this is wonderful. We knew it was God. It sounds like God. Whoever God chooses, upon that one God bestows His grace. But for the non-dualist, like Shankara, is in trouble now. What do you mean Atman chooses? Atman doesn't choose, it's an impersonal consciousness. It's the same everywhere. So his commentary is very instructive. He says, to whoever the Atman chooses, to that one it reveals itself. But whom does the Atman choose? And he says very beautifully, to whoever chooses the Atman. You must choose. I want God. I want self-realization. I want illumination. I want the spiritual life. That's what I want. Then the rest will come from that side. Another story let me share with you. This was revealed to me by this monk who called me and said, are you going to make Shunyam and Purnyam one? So he came to New York. We had an agreement because he said, I will teach in Hindi, but you have to translate. So you must have seen it. It's on YouTube. If you look it up, his name is Swami Pranab Chaitanya Puri. He's a traditional teacher of Advaita Vedanta for many, many decades. A wonderful teacher. He teaches in Hindi and I, sentence by sentence, I'm translating. So it's there, the videos are there online. So he told me a story about his teacher, which was very shocking for him. His teacher was a great Pandit, a scholar. Not a monk, but a traditional Pandit, Brahmin Pandit in Benares, under whom, before he became a monk, he was studying not only Vedanta, but all sorts of Nyaya, this Sanskrit grammar, everything. Now this monk, this Pandit, was actually a very devout person and a sincere Vedantin. And he worshipped Shiva there, Benares, Vishwanath Shiva. And remember, it's the belief of all Hindus. If you die in Benares, you're going to get moksha, mukti. Doesn't matter you're not liberated or not. That's a special, exciting offer. You got to die. You got to die in Benares. So many Hindus go there to die. So if you die within the precincts of Benares, you will get liberation. Doesn't matter how spiritually advanced you are now. You will say, that's unfair. Well, it is. It's God's way. You can't complain. But to cut a long story short, this Swami told us that at one point, towards the end of the life of this Pandit, he simply lost all faith. He lost all interest in religion, spirituality, meditation, Vedanta, all of that. He just said, I don't believe on that stuff anymore. And it was very shocking for his students, because they had seen him as this ideal scholar and a saintly figure also. He stopped going to the temple of Vishwanath. And his students were uneasy. And he was sick and dying, of course. Maybe it was a depression brought on by continued physical illness and all, whatever it was. Finally, he died. Now, this monk told me, I was unhappy. So I went to another senior monk in Benares itself. And I narrated what had happened. How do you explain this? A man who is a master of these scriptures and has practiced it all their life long suddenly loses all interest. I don't like it anymore. That's it. I don't believe in this stuff. And then he dies. This is very shocking for us. And then that monk said, he lost all faith, interest in Baba Vishwanath, Shiva. He let go of Baba Vishwanath. But did you notice? He died in Benares. Baba Vishwanath did not let go of him. Yes, this is absolutely true. We, in spirituality, we develop a peculiar ego. By all these philosophies and techniques, I am going to realize God. No, you are not. Not at all. When by the grace of God it comes, it will come. By the grace of God, this breakthrough, this realization, it will dawn on us. We'll realize I didn't do it by my own efforts. You'll either say, it just came. It just showed itself. Or if you are devotional, if you believe in God, if you worship God in the form, by His or her grace, she or he revealed herself to me. Not by my own efforts. No enlightened person will say, I got it, I've got God now. Just what we read. Those who think we have known it, they do not know. Those who know it cannot be known in that way, they know. So don't worry. All the practices carry on as long as possible. At some point it's not possible, God will do it. It will do it for the Lord will do whatever is needed for us. In fact, all that we are doing now, we think we are doing it by our own power. No, the power to do it is also provided by the Lord. The power to come here, to listen, to repeat the mantra, to meditate, to study, to pray, to weep for God. These are all blessings of God. These are what are called the before the sunrise, the horizon becomes orange and red. That's the sign the sun is going to come up now. Dawn. This is the sign of dawn. Thank you very much.
Okay, so first of all, I thank Swamiji for making this trip at our invitation all the way from New York and spending this amazing time with us. And I hope and I pray to Sri Ramakrishna that we get many more such opportunities, maybe for another 100 years. I thank all of you for being here today, and I hope that we keep on seeing you as time passes. This year we will have many other events. Pretty much every month we will have visits by monastics from around the country and from even India next year. So please keep in touch with us. We will have also retreats at various frequencies. We ask you to we ask you to come and join us for all of those events. Now, tomorrow is 6th October. We have been talking a lot about it. Tomorrow is literally the day we were founded. So tomorrow we have two things. In the morning, there is a ritualistic worship of Sri Ramakrishna here. Although I know it's a Monday and work and things are there, but we would still do it here. So you are welcome to join if you can. And then at the end of that, maybe around 11:30, Swami and etc. will do a short discussion for about 30 to 45 minutes. Then tomorrow evening, Swami, you again get one more chance to see Swami. He will be given a talk in the Portland Hindu Temple in Tigard. The flyer and etc. are all outside. You probably have it in your newsletter too. But remember, please sign up for it, because the group that is hosting it with us, they would like to also know the numbers. And after this, there will be a closing song by Chanda Roy, and you can all then proceed. After the song outside, there will be some tea and refreshments, and that is the end of our program today. With this, I thank all of you. At the end, if you go for the tea session, there will be a form supplied. Yes. Okay. Please help to fill that up.
स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्म स्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्ण जगद्गुरु पादपद्मे तयोश्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्ण जगद्गुरु पादपद्मे तयोश्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित् सुख स्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापोहारिणे नमः श्रीयतिराजाय नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित् सुख स्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापोहारिणे। এসো রাম কৃষ্ণ নয়নাভিরাম এসো যশোদা দুলাল তুমি রঘুপতি রাম এসো নয়নাভিরাম নয়নাভিরাম এসো রাম কৃষ্ণ মোর এসো রাম কৃষ্ণ মোর নয়নাভিরাম এসো যশোদা দুলাল তুমি রঘুপতি রাম এসো নয়নাভিরাম 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 মোর নয়নাভিরাম এসো রাম কৃষ্ণ মোর নয়নাভিরাম, এসো যশোদা দুলাল তুমি রঘুপতি রাম, এসো নয়নাভিরাম মোর নয়নাভিরাম। দক্ষিণেশ্বরে তব লীলা কিবা মনোহর, কভু শ্যামা রূপধর, কভু সাজ শঙ্কর। দক্ষিণেশ্বরে তব লীলা কিবা মনোহর, কভু শ্যামা রূপধর, কভু সাজ শঙ্কর। শ্রীরাধার ভাবে কভু কাঁদে তব অন্তর, শ্রীরাধার ভাবে কভু কাঁদে তব অন্তর। ধুলায় লুটায় বলো কোথা নব ঘন শ্যাম, নয়নাভিরাম মোর নয়নাভিরাম, নয়নাভিরাম মোর নয়নাভিরাম। এসো রাম কৃষ্ণ মোর নয়নাভিরাম, এসো যশোদা দুলাল তুমি রঘুপতি রাম, এসো নয়নাভিরাম মোর নয়নাভিরাম, নয়নাভিরাম মোর নয়নাভিরাম। পঞ্চবটির তীরে জাহ্নবী কিনারায়, যেচে প্রেম বিলাইতে ডাকে উড়ে আয় আয়। পঞ্চবটির তীরে জাহ্নবী কিনারায়, যেচে প্রেম মিলাইতে ডাকে উড়ে আয় আয়। ভকত কুসুম যত আনিলে আপন সার, নন্দন কাননে সুন্দর পারিজাত। ভকত কুসুম যত আনিলে আপন সার, নন্দন কাননে সুন্দর পারিজাত। সে কুসুমে ভরে সাজে আপনি পূজারি সাজে, সে কুসুমে ভরে সাজে আপনি পূজারি সাজে, করিলে নয়নাভিরাম 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 এসো রাম কৃষ্ণ মোর নয়নাভিরাম এসো যশোদা দুলাল তুমি রঘুপতি রাম এসো নয়নাভিরাম নয়নাভিরাম মা 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 মাছে না আমি আছি ভাবনা কি আছে আমার মাছে না আমি আছি ভাবনা কি আছে আমার আমি মায়ের হাতে খাই পড়ি মায়ের হাতে খাই পড়ি মা নিয়েছেন আমার ভার মাছে না আমি আছি ভাবনা কি আছে আমার মাছে না আমি আছি ভাবনা কি আছে আমার সংসার পাকে ঘুরবি পাকে যখন দেখবি অন্ধকার অন্ধকারের বিপদ হতে মাগো অন্ধকারের বিপদ হতে মাঝে করেছেন উদ্ধার মাছে না আমি আছি ভাবনা কি আছে আমার মাছে না আমি আছি ভাবনা কি আছে আমার ভুলেও থাকি তবুও দেখি ভুলেও না মা একটি ভুলেও থাকি তবুও দেখি ভুলেও না মা একটি স্নেহের আধার মাঝে আমার মাগো স্নেহের আধার মাঝে আমার আমি যে মায়ের মা মাছে না আমি আছি মা ভাবনা কি আছে আমার মাছে না আমি আছি ভাবনা কি আছে আমার মায়ের হাতে খাই পড়ি মা নিয়েছেন আমার ভার মাছে না আমি আছি ভাবনা কি আর আছে আমার
So we'll say Jaikar. Jaikar means hail to God. Jai Sri Guru Maharaj Ji ki Jai. Jai Mahamai ki Jai. Jai Swami Ji Maharaj Ji ki Jai. So thank you very much. Please join us for the tea.
Okay, one request, like if you guys can, like some of you can stay back if you have some time. So help us wind up the stuff which is outside. That would be a great help. Thank you.
Come tomorrow.
And tomorrow's program, it starts at 9:30. So 9:30 to 11:30 is puja, and 11:30 to 12:30 is the Swamiji's talk. Everyone is welcome. Please come. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
So tomorrow you have to drop drop her at the airport.
Yes. Okay, Swami, you can stand here. Both of us make sure it's same. Yeah. Swami is going to-
Yes. No, you can open not only. Thakur Smaji.
Thakur was it? Ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like getting ready for puja tomorrow. I've got
Oh yes.
Do you speak fluent? Or do you speak it fluently or read it fluently?
See, do you want advance or
I'm
beginning?
very beginner. I don't even speak Hindi.
So that's it. So you come. We have a Sanskrit class. So now,
How do I know
Yeah,
the
yeah,
yes, of course.
yeah.
Don't
Can you guys
do
stop at my hand? Thank you so much.
he's the minister.
We need help.
Chandrasekhar.
Yeah, agar help. Yeah, like this.
So all the folding ones goes there. In the lower areas there is
Yeah, roll the card. We always get the same job. Actually, put me that thing. We initiate going to the engineering solution. Yes.
maybe on the other side, this side.
Camera.